The official story of the pyramids is a fairy tale, and Graham Hancock is here to shatter it.
My view is the ancient world had the right attitude to this kind of thing,
Yeah.
and the modern world does not, and that we can sit down and learn a lot from the ancient world.
We're talking about a level of scientific and astronomical precision in these structures that was supposedly impossible for the ancient Egyptians. How could a Bronze Age society align a massive monument to true north with an accuracy that we would struggle with today? The thing nobody tells you is that they couldn't. Hancock has found the evidence that proves a much older, much more advanced civilization was responsible. What he's uncovered will make you question everything. The star map mystery. For decades, the accepted wisdom has been that the pyramids of Giza were built around 2500 BC by the pharaohs of the 4th dynasty. They were tombs, we are told, magnificent monuments to the power of the Egyptian kings. But, you see, not all things are what they seem. Graham Hancock, along with his colleague Robert Bauval, has put forward a theory that is, to put it mildly, a game changer. What they propose is that the Giza Plateau is not just a random collection of pyramids, but a map of the stars. The theory, known as the Orion Correlation Theory, suggests that the layout of the 3 main pyramids at Giza is a deliberate representation of the 3 stars in Orion's belt. The size and position of each pyramid correspond to the brightness and position of the stars Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka. This is a wow factor of the highest order. We're not talking about a vague resemblance here. The correlation is incredibly precise. The thing nobody tells you is that it's not just the layout on the ground that matches the stars. The alignment of the pyramids also seems to be a marker of time. Using sophisticated computer software, Hancock and Bauval have shown that the Giza pyramids, in conjunction with the Sphinx, create a kind of astronomical clock. They argue that the structures are aligned to reflect the sky as it would have looked not in 2500 BC, but in 10,500 BC. That's a difference of 8,000 years, a period that plunges us deep into the last ice age. At that time, the constellation of Orion would have been at its lowest point in its precessional cycle, a slow wobble of the Earth's axis that takes 26,000 years to complete. And at the same time, on the spring equinox, the Sphinx would have gazed directly at the constellation of Leo. The Sphinx, a lion-bodied statue, would have been looking at its own celestial counterpart. Many people are crazy about this idea, and for good reason. It suggests a level of astronomical knowledge and planning that is simply staggering for the accepted timeline of human civilization. We're talking about people who understood the slow 26,000-year cycle of precession. This is not the work of a Bronze Age culture that had, according to mainstream history, only just developed writing. This is the hallmark of a highly advanced, sophisticated civilization. And if that civilization existed in 10,500 BC, then it is a civilization that has been completely lost to history. A civilization that predates the ancient Egyptians by thousands of years. What many overlook is that this isn't just about the pyramids anymore. It's about a fundamental rewriting of our past. But where did this lost civilization go? The clues point to a global cataclysm, flood myths, and the memory of disaster. So, if there was a highly advanced civilization on Earth in 10,500 BC, what happened to it? Why is there no record of it in our history books? Hancock believes the answer lies in a global catastrophe, a massive and sudden climate shift that brought the last ice age to a violent end. The evidence for this event, he argues, is not just geological, but is also encoded in the myths and legends of cultures from all over the world. You see, there are over 500 flood myths from different cultures across the globe. From the story of Noah's Ark in the Bible, to the Epic of Gilgamesh in Mesopotamia, from the Manu legend in India to the tales of the Maya in Central America, the theme is the same: a great flood that wiped out almost all of humanity. Mainstream historians tend to dismiss these stories as mere myths, as primitive attempts to explain natural phenomena. But Hancock asks a simple question. What if they are not myths at all? What if they are the distorted memories of a real event, a global cataclysm that was passed down through generations of survivors? The geological record seems to support this idea. Around 12,800 years ago, at a time known as the Younger Dryas, the Earth experienced a sudden and dramatic cooling event. This was followed by an equally rapid warming, which led to the melting of the vast ice sheets that covered much of North America and Europe. The result was a series of catastrophic floods. We're talking about floods on a scale that is almost unimaginable today. The scablands of Washington state, for example, show evidence of a flood that was over 1,000 feet deep and moved at speeds of up to 80 miles per hour. This was not a local flood, it was a continental-scale deluge. The timing of this cataclysm is striking. Around 11,600 years ago, it falls suspiciously close to the 10,500 BC date encoded in the Giza monuments. Hancock suggests that the pyramid builders were not just architects, but survivors of a lost civilization. They carried fragments of ancient knowledge and built the Giza complex as a message in a bottle, a warning to the future about the recurring cycles of cosmic catastrophe. It was their way of telling us about our planet, our place in the cosmos, and just how fragile civilization can be. This ancient message might be more relevant today than ever before. The precision problem. The mystery of the pyramids deepens when we look at how they were built. Mainstream Egyptology tells us that the Great Pyramid was constructed using copper chisels and stone hammers. But can you really build a structure of this scale and precision with such primitive tools? Let's look at the numbers. The Great Pyramid is made up of an estimated 2.3 million stone blocks, some of them weighing as much as 80 tons. That's the weight of a modern locomotive. These blocks were quarried from hundreds of miles away, transported to the site, and then lifted into place with an accuracy that would be a challenge even for modern engineers. The precision of the stonework is, to put it mildly, astonishing. The casing stones of the Great Pyramid, for example, were cut with such accuracy that you couldn't fit a razor blade between them. The entire structure is aligned to true north with an accuracy of within 1/15 of a degree. This is a level of precision that is simply not possible with the tools and techniques that the ancient Egyptians supposedly had at their disposal. And it's not just the Great Pyramid. All over the world, we find ancient structures that display this same kind of impossible engineering. From the massive polygonal walls of Sacsayhuaman in Peru to the intricately carved statues of Easter Island, the evidence points to a level of technological sophistication that is completely out of place in the ancient world. The thing nobody tells you is that modern attempts to replicate these feats of engineering have failed. In the 1980s, a Japanese team tried to build a small-scale pyramid using ancient Egyptian techniques. They failed. They couldn't move the large blocks, and they couldn't achieve the required precision. So, how did the ancients do it? Hancock doesn't claim to have all the answers, but he does suggest that we need to be open to the possibility that our ancestors were far more advanced than we give them credit for. He points to the possibility of lost technologies, of a different kind of science that we are only just beginning to understand. What many overlook is the possibility that this lost technology was not just about building monuments. It may have been a technology that was based on a different understanding of the laws of physics, a technology that was more in tune with the energies of the Earth and the cosmos, a technology that we have forgotten, but that may be waiting to be rediscovered. But what if the pyramids were not just monuments, but machines? Purpose beyond belief. This is where the story takes another turn, a turn that is even more controversial and even more mind-bending. Some researchers, building on the work of Hancock and others, have proposed a radical new theory about the purpose of the Great Pyramid. They suggest that it was not a tomb at all. It was a machine, a power plant. This theory, known as the Giza Power Plant theory, was first put forward by engineer Christopher Dunn. He argues that the internal structure of the Great Pyramid, with its complex system of shafts and chambers, is not designed for funerary rituals, but for a highly specific technical purpose. He points to the fact that the pyramid is built on a massive limestone aquifer, and that the chambers inside are made of granite, a stone that is rich in quartz crystals. The thing nobody tells you is that when quartz is subjected to pressure, it generates an electric field. This is known as the piezoelectric effect. Dunn's theory is that the Great Pyramid was designed to harness the natural vibrations of the Earth. The pyramid would have acted as a giant resonator, converting the Earth's vibrations into microwave energy. The shafts inside the pyramid, which are often dismissed as ventilation shafts, were in fact waveguides, designed to channel this energy to a specific point. The king's chamber, with its massive granite beams, would have been the heart of the power plant, the place where the energy was collected and amplified. Many people are crazy about this theory because it seems to explain so many of the anomalies of the Great Pyramid. It explains the incredible precision of the construction. It explains the strange acoustic properties of the chambers. It even explains the fact that no mummy has ever been found in any of the Giza pyramids. To put it mildly, this is a theory that turns everything we thought we knew about the pyramids on its head. It suggests that our ancestors were not just master builders, but that they were also masters of a kind of energy science that we are only just beginning to rediscover. What many overlook is that this is not just a theory about the past. If the Great Pyramid was indeed a power plant, then it is a technology that could have profound implications for our future. It could be a source of clean, free energy. A technology that could change the world. But is the world ready for this kind of change? The conspiracy of silence. Why is this information not more widely known? Why is it not taught in our schools and universities? The simple answer is that it challenges the very foundations of our current understanding of history. To accept the ideas of Graham Hancock and other researchers like him is to accept that our civilization is not the pinnacle of human achievement. It is to accept that we are a species with amnesia, that we have forgotten a vast and important chapter of our own story. This is not something that the academic establishment is willing to do. For over 150 years, Egyptology has been dominated by a single paradigm, a single story about the pyramids. And any evidence that contradicts that story is either ignored, dismissed, or ridiculed. This is not how science is supposed to work. Science is supposed to be about open-minded inquiry, about following the evidence wherever it leads. But when it comes to the pyramids, it seems that there is a different set of rules. You see, the thing nobody tells you is that there is a long history of what some have called forbidden archaeology. All over the world, artifacts have been found that simply do not fit into the accepted timeline of human history. From the ancient batteries of Baghdad to the Antikythera mechanism, a complex astronomical computer from ancient Greece, the evidence for advanced ancient technology is overwhelming. And yet, this evidence is consistently ignored by the mainstream. What many overlook is that this is not just about academic pride. There are powerful vested interests that have a stake in maintaining the current version of history. The idea of a lost advanced civilization is a threat to the established order. It is a threat to the idea of linear progress, the idea that our civilization is the most advanced that has ever existed, and it is a threat to the power structures that are based on that idea. But the truth cannot be suppressed forever. The evidence for a lost chapter of human history is growing every day. And as more and more people become aware of this evidence, the old paradigm will begin to crumble. The story of the pyramids is not just a story about the past. It is a story about the future. It is a story about who we are, where we come from, and where we are going. And it is a story that is far from over. So, are we the descendants of a forgotten civilization? And is the Great Pyramid a message from our distant past? A warning we have yet to heed? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of our ancient world.